Hi everyone, this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and today we're doing another tarot spreads video. The spread that we are going to be looking at today is called the Wise Woman spread. This spread can be found in this book, The Illustrated Tarot Spreads, 78 New Layouts for Personal Discovery by Felmir and Schreiner. And the spread that we're looking at today is on page 21, The Wise Woman. So this spread, I would say, you would use when you're trying to do some personal insight onto how motherhood affected you. Now, obviously, if you are a person who has given birth, a woman who has given birth to a child, you could read it as physical birthing, giving birth, the whole experience. If you're an individual who has adopted, we can look at this in a like a spiritual way or an emotional way. However you perceive motherhood and how it has affected you, because some of the positions are going to talk about physically, mentally, and spiritually. So let's look at this spread. So the first card, this is my being. So this is a spread that you're doing for yourself for personal insight, and the first card is going to go right in the center there. So that represents my being. The next card is my actual or not actual physical motherhood. And like I said, so if you're an individual who has actually physically given birth to someone, you can read this card in that way. So that would be my actual or not actual physical motherhood. The next position, position 3, what did it bring me physically? So if you're talking about an actual physical giving labor, birth, or cesarean, or however, this is how motherhood, and however you're defining it, brought you in a physical sense, how it affected you in your physicality. The next card is, what did it teach me mentally? So this is where motherhood affected you in the mental aspect. That is card number 4. Card number 5, this is how I feel now. So this card right below the center card, a little below this, that is how you feel now. The next card is, what is my spiritual motherhood or your social spiritual commitment going to look like? So now we're looking at, and this is where this card goes, it's going to be parallel to this card. So what is your spiritual motherhood or social commitment, or your social or spiritual commitment look like, going to look like? So your motherhood in the aspect of connecting with non-physical energies, that kind of motherhood. What is it going to look like? How will I realize it? That's what this next card represents. And again, these are going parallel to the cards you already placed on the other side. And what will it bring me is the last card here. So it's parallel to this. What will my spiritual motherhood bring me? And then the last card is, what will become of me, the wise woman? So this is sort of like your outcome. What will become of you, the wise woman? This is how the layout looks. So on this hand we have motherhood, if we look at it in the physical incarnation, as you're physically incarnated, your experience with motherhood here. This side is motherhood in a spiritual aspect. Your wise woman, your spiritual, emotional, mental experience of communing or connecting with the spiritual, in the spiritual aspect. This is how you feel at this very moment, and this is what you will become as the wise woman, and this is your being at this point. So this middle line represents you now, your being now, and what you will become, the physicality and the spirituality. So how would I read this? If these are the cards that I flipped over for me, and I am a mother of 2 children, and they are my biological children. I gave birth to them, though they were both by cesarean. So let's look at how I would read this if I pulled these specific cards for me, CricketSong. So the first card here, the first card that I picked is the 3 of Cups, and this is my being. So I would read this as my being is someone who is very connected to relationships with other people. I look for friendship with people. I look for our common things that we have, people of like mind, people of who enjoy other people as well. I look for, like I said, friendship. So my being is someone who likes to connect in an emotional and spiritual way with other people. And when I look at that, it really talks about friendship and coming together to experience things on an emotional level. That is my being. Okay, I might even suggest, a healer of some sort. My being is to heal, to soothe, to comfort, everything that water represents, because this card for me represents water, emotions, that sort of thing. So that is my being. So the next card I would go to, card number 2, is this card up there, my actual physical motherhood. So how would I read this? And this is the 8 of Wands. And I would read this as a transformation, a forward transformation, something with energies moving forward or moving and sort of, I guess, motivating and propelling things in a forward momentum. And because I'm looking at the position, yes, it's reversed, but for me, when I look at reversed cards, I look at the image in the card, and it's coming from my being and being projected or propelled forward. So I would look at this saying that motherhood was me, the emotional me, projecting the energy of that forward. To forward myself in some way, to physically give of myself that emotional energy. So my actual physical motherhood, the experience, really enabled me to project forward, to give of myself to my children. That's how the physical motherhood was for me. What did it bring me? This is the next card. What did it bring me in a physical sense? And this is the 8 of Swords. So here I would say that the physical experience of motherhood brought me physically to a place where I felt, or I was, trapped. Although if you look at this, she is sort of able to free herself, but she does not. And because I see swords, there's some sort of conflict there. There's a feeling of tension, stress, maybe even physical ailments. And when I think of my physical experience with motherhood, I did have some, like I said, I had two C-sections for my children. One of the births was very difficult physically for me. It left me with some back problems that needed to be worked through. And then if I look at my life, my children are now going to be 20 and my daughter's going to be 16 in March. They are grown up now. But when they were younger, I was sort of trapped. I was a stay-at-home mom for a very long time. And then when I was not, I was working, and I was a single mom for a while. So when I look at that, it looks like that being a mother sort of restricted me in some sense, and it did cause some stress for me, physically having to work and care for the children, and some just physical restraints that I had because I had 2 young children, and even just children, even today there's some restraints on that as well. So this would, but it's something I chose. That's why the figure here, I'm sorry, I'm having some issues with my voice today. I chose this. So even that's what we're looking at here in physicality. What did motherhood bring me? This last card is, what did it teach me mentally? So how did a physical experience of motherhood, what did that teach me mentally? And this is the 8 of Cups, and it's upside down, it's reversed. So there's a feeling when I see the 8 of Cups, it talks about feeling as if you have everything, but then recognizing that there is still something missing, that it isn't complete, and searching for that, because this figure is moving through the opening and like going on some sort of quest for the missing cup. But these cups are upside down, they're reversed. So when I look at the image, the cups are empty. Everything that the cups held spilled out. And this individual is going to look to fill those cups and find the missing cup. So how do I fit this into the position? What did it teach me mentally? Well, the experience of motherhood taught me that motherhood did not fulfill me, that it did bring me fulfillment, but it didn't bring me complete fulfillment, and that I still needed to search and find that motherhood was not the answer. So perhaps, and this is probably a truth for me, when I had my children, I thought they were going to fill this emptiness I had. But even after having the children, I realized that I was still missing something, that they couldn't fulfill or fill the emptiness I felt within. And I still had to search for that myself. And that's how I would read that particular card. So then we go to number 5, position 5, which is here we see the Tower. Before I discuss the Tower, this is how I feel now. So before we discuss this, the other thing I wanted to point out that you would want to take note of is each of these is a number 8. I have the 8 of Wands, the 8 of Swords, and the 8 of Cups. What is missing is the 8 of Pentacles. And sometimes when you look at a spread, if you have all of the pips of that number, the same number of each of the pips, if all 4 are there, then there's a meaning there for you. If 3 are there and 1 is missing, you want to take note of the 3 that is there and then note which one is missing. So for me, it's the Pentacles, and I associate Pentacles with Earth. So I would look at this and say, okay, the number 8 has significance for me. What does that mean? And the 8 of Pentacles is missing. What does that mean? So the element of Earth is missing for me within this idea of physical motherhood, which could mean a number of things, and I'd have to sit and think about that for a little while. I'm not going to do that here on the video, but I would want to consider that. And why is the 8 showing up? And at this point, I'd probably dig into numerology. I don't know enough numerology to say off the top of my head, but it is a 5 and a 3, and look at that and try to figure out the meaning of that as well. This would take a little bit of research, but I would not do that right now on the video for you. Okay, so down to the Tower card. So this is how I feel right now. So the Tower talks to me. It's a major arcana card, so I would take note that it is a major arcana. How I feel now and the outcome are 2 major arcana cards. Everything else is pips, so I would take note of that as well. So however I'm feeling right now is a big transition. The Tower talks about tearing things down to rebuild things, finding that this could be very overwhelming, As I said, my children are going to be 20 and 16. They're growing up. My son may move out at some point. He's finishing up college. That's a time of transition for a mother. You know, they talk about empty nest syndrome, things like that. So this is definitely a time of overwhelming emotions, transitions, but a new phase is beginning, rebuilding from the rubble. And I definitely can say I'm definitely going through transitions in all aspects and all ways. We're considering moving. So, and will the children, my daughter will come with us, but will my son, you know, that whole thing. So then we go up to card number 6, and that's the card up here. What is my spiritual motherhood or social or spiritual commitment going to look like? So I see the Ace of Wands here. So this is new beginnings. I would say something starting fresh. It's a wand, it's energy moving. So I would say that my spiritual motherhood is going to look like something new, something vibrant, something forward moving. And interesting enough, both cards here are wands. So it seems very similar to me. The same sort of feeling that I got when I became a mother or was becoming a mother is that same sort of feeling here. The next card, what will it bring? I'm sorry, how will I realize it, is number 7. And that's actually the Hermit. So actually I didn't realize that the Hermit was there. So that's a major arcana card as well. Interesting enough, it creates this triangle here. So for me, triangles talk about unity, body, mind, and spirit coming together. So how will I realize it? The Hermit reversed. So this tells me about introspection. But because it's reversed, my introspection will start. It's not like in the middle of this I'll recognize it, but it's as I start doing some internal work, contemplation, maybe some shadow work, although it's going to be sort of an outward experience. So even though it's internal work, I'm going to experience it outside of myself, meaning that I may be seeing things that will trigger the internal work that I'm going to be doing. It's definitely going to be in a spiritual aspect, and it's definitely going to bring the completeness, body, mind, and spirit together for me. That's how I will realize this motherhood as it comes upon me, as this spiritual motherhood grows. Number 8, what will it bring me? 9 of Swords talks to me about stress, tension. It could even be nightmares. It could be visions. It could something happening with my sleep. While I'm in this sleep, I will get I will have these experiences. It could even mean physically not sleeping. It could mean sleepless nights. It could mean while I'm sleeping, I'm having these visions, dreams that I'm trying to work through. Maybe some of these introspections. Maybe I will be visited by spirits at night or visions. But it's going to disrupt and bring some stress and tension. But I expect this because I see the Tower. I see the introspection. I see the change, the energy. This is something I expect. So when I experience these things, I'll know I'll be going through this sort of becoming. And then finally, what will become of me, the wise woman? And here I have the Death card. And the Death card speaks to me about transformation. It speaks to me about death. It speaks to me about physical death as well as metaphysical death. So it talks to me about, and it's opposite here, the Tower. So I feel like in this transformation, in this overwhelming position, how I feel now, I feel like that's part of this transformation. It's part of this becoming. And my physical or the ego or the thing that I identify with, the feeling of self, the I, will die. It will die. It will be, destroyed. And from that, I will get the understanding of we. From that, I will get the understanding of unity and completeness. So this is sort of a process of the destruction of the personal identity in order to embrace the understanding of a deeper connection to the all, to the everything, to everyone, which is my being anyway. So that's how I would read the Wise Woman spread. If you have questions, if you have comments in regards to this spread, please let me know. If you have a spread that you would like to share with me that I could do a video about, please share that as well. You can send the information to my email, cricketsong@lunarwisdom.net. And if you're interested in receiving a reading from me, you can visit my website and check out my rates. I do Skype readings, email readings, in-person readings, phone readings. Go check it out. And until next time, I love you. Mwah.